Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of our Town Hall video series. If you don't know who I am, I'm Kasey D'Amato, President and Founder of Certified PA Consulting, and I'm here with Danielle Spatholt, and she is our Senior Consultant and expert in salary negotiations and helping understand contract terms. She also helps coach people through career transitions, clinical or non-clinical, and she also put together a really fun on-demand program about starting a side hustle. So she is one of our senior leaders at the Certified PA Consulting team, and we have been around since 2009. If you have never heard of us or seen us, we are the leading experts in PA salary negotiations. We are the leading experts in PA practice ownership, in PAs starting businesses outside of clinical medicine, in life coaching and career coaching for people who want to make transitions. We started because of our experience both practicing clinically and involved in practice management and administration. Everybody on our team has a level of leadership that is separate from their clinical role that brings some additional skills to the table. And we help people really understand these professional issues that are not taught in PA school. We're not really taught how to negotiate like a boss. We're not taught that looking at salary reports and talking to peers at conferences probably isn't the best way to get the biggest outcomes. We all just do that when we graduate PA school. And so we help people understand how to negotiate like a business and like a professional, and understand how to create win-win outcomes. We help PAs understand how to recognize when to exit. We help practice owners as well who are unsure how to pay and create pay structures, compensation structures for their PAs and NPs. And then we also have an entire whole division for PAs that are interested in opening their own practice. And we have programs for PAs who want to start their own practice. And then PAs who want to start side hustles, we have programs for, as well as career transitions. So all the kind of business needs of being a PA that we're not taught in PA school, and there's just not a lot of resources. So we have a lot of business experience and been on the other side of things. And so we have a unique perspective, and that's why we become the leading experts in these really, really important issues and how to navigate these issues and how to have very big wins and big outcomes and how to recognize when to make a change from where you are to where you want to be and how to take where you are to the next level. So we put a video out a couple times a month to answer common questions that come up frequently. And one of the questions that we probably don't talk about enough on these videos, because typically we're talking about the strategies on salaries or, how to start a clinical practice or things like that. And we don't oftentimes talk about how our process works. How does it work to work with us? Oops, I just started my video. Sorry about that. How does it work to work with us? And what does that process look like? And yes, you can watch all of our videos on YouTube and on our website, and we have free PDF guides on our website as well. But what if you need more than that? What if you need more personal support in addition to what you can watch on YouTube, or more than what you've learned in our PDF guides or our published articles? And you're like, this information is fantastic. I still feel stuck about my personal decision or my personal negotiation, or I feel really anxious about it and I don't know how to feel more confident. I understand everything that the team at Certified PA Consulting is saying, but I still feel very intimidated, or I'm still not sure when I should plan my exit, if it should be sooner or should be later. How long should I stay in this role? If there's some areas of red flags for you, and when should you start to think about making a change? These are things that swirl through everybody's mind, and sometimes they want more help and they're not sure how and what we do and how to get in touch with us and how to work with us on a deeper level. So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, if you want to work with us, number one, you can contact us anytime at certifiedpaconsulting.com. So I will throw that out there, and email team at Certified PA Consulting to get any questions, team at certifiedpaconsulting.com to get questions answered. But Danielle's going to walk us through the process, start to finish. If you want to work with us one-on-one, we have on-demand programs as well, but we're going to talk about the one-on-one private coaching and consulting process. So I'll hand it over to Danielle. A lot of times, if you're working with her on salary or negotiations or career transitions, if you're working with us, you're probably going to be talking to her. So she's the perfect one to explain how this process works, start to finish, and how what the experience is like.
Sure. Thanks, Kasey. So yeah, once you have emailed team at Certified PA Consulting, or you've gone on the website, kind of looked at what's involved with that, You'll fill out a questionnaire, and really it'll be about, I want to say it's about 15 questions, give or take. And it really gives me an idea, before your session, I will review that questionnaire and everything that you've, given us. And that can be, it's a lot of numbers, what your numbers are, your collections, your current salary, and lots of other numbers that we consider when we're doing some calculations for you. So there'll be some numbers that you'll give us, and then there'll be some information that you'll give us on some of the background that of your current position. We've talked in other videos about, is this a long term? Is this a short term? It kind of changes how we negotiate. So you'll give us some basic background in your questionnaire, and I'll spend some time kind of going through that information that you provided with us to kind of develop kind of an initial strategy on what I think would be beneficial for your negotiation. And then you'll schedule your session through our team at Certified PA Consulting, and we'll meet. So we typically do these, in the, later afternoon or evening time. And, you can pick a time that's amenable to you and your schedule. We meet usually for about an hour or an hour and 15 minutes, depending on if you have a contract that you want to review as well. We are not lawyers, but we are experts in the PA contract terms. So we can help you understand what that means in the PA world, in the PA context. So if you're looking for legal advice, on understanding terms of your contract, that's the lawyer's, expertise, but we help you understand what this means for PA. So we look through a lot of PA contracts. We're kind of the experts in what a PA contract, what does that mean? We help you understand some of these things in the context of what is an industry standard in the PA world. So typically at the beginning of the session, we'll start off by talking through lots of questions that are very targeted and really meant to drill down into your situation, drill down into your values, your decision makers' values, kind of help you understand and get more information on kind of the background of where you're at. And I dissect that information as we're talking through. I'm adding things to your salary negotiation, things that I want to change. I'm thinking about ways that we can, use that verbiage in your negotiation strategy so that it helps you the most. So I'm picking pieces out of, this 20 questions that I'm asking you so that I can make you the most successful and get that win-win. That's the first part, is kind of getting your background on your situation. And then the next piece, if you do want a contract review, that's an option to you. Some people are very comfortable with their contract and don't need that help. Some people do want to go through their contracts, and we kind of identify red flags, things that we've seen, maybe that non-compete is a little bit longer than industry standard. And I also point out things that are really good. I find good things in contracts because we do look at a lot of contracts. So I can pick out and show you the things that are really great about your contract that you definitely want to keep in there, or things that maybe aren't so good, that aren't industry standard. And maybe you want to negotiate that, maybe you don't. We talk through those things and what's important to you. And then the third part, we go through the calculations. So I use all those numbers that you gave me in the questionnaire that you fill out before the session. And then we go through all your calculations, and I kind of show you how we do the math and what that means and what's the industry standard for a salary, a bonus structure. Does your structure make sense? Is it too complicated? Is it working for you? There's a lot of nuances to the calculations, and it does get a little complex sometimes. So I kind of help you understand what your numbers are and where you're at comparing apples to apples, because there's so many different structures out there. And then the last piece, once we have all your information, we've considered, if you want a contract review, consider your contract terms. Is there some contract terms that we really need to negotiate even before your salary? Or maybe we need to negotiate some on your bonus structure, change your bonus structure, change your entire structure. So we talk through that, and we consider all the all the background that you gave me about the decision makers. What do they value? What's going to be a win-win for them in addition to you? And we kind of help you. I kind of give you some examples of verbiage and how to approach that negotiation so it's most successful for you. And then at the end, typically clients are feeling much more confident. I hear that a lot, at the very beginning, like Kasey mentioned, they're just feeling kind of anxious. We don't get these skills. We don't learn these skills. We don't get to practice these skills a lot. So it's nice to kind of, at the end of the session, give you all that information and help you understand it so that you are most empowered going into your negotiation and feel really good about that negotiation, feel confident. so that you're not making these kind of small mistakes that can cost you money in the end.
Yeah. And, this is a process that we have defined. Danielle's been working with us, I think, for gosh, 4, maybe 5 years now, but, since 2009. So we've been using this process for 15 years. And without a doubt, at the end of this process that Danielle just explained, our clients always say they have so much more clarity. Like now they see, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe now I have a totally different perspective on my compensation, on whether I should stay or go, or how long, or short term, long term, what my deal breakers are. Are there personalities in the mix? What do I do about some complicated personalities? And this is a framework that myself and my other partner, Catherine, we developed this so long ago, and it's timeless. This process works to help people get complete clarity on their situation. You will know 100% if you have room to negotiate why or why not. And you will start to be able to make your plans short term and long term around that decision, and what the numbers show, and what your deal breakers are, and what the practice values, to see if things are aligned. And we will point those things out and help you understand if you're in alignment. Because if you are, that's beautiful. If you're in alignment, then there's almost always an opportunity to negotiate, and sometimes in very big ways, sometimes by tens of thousands of dollars. So if you're in alignment, then that's a beautiful thing. We can typically help you make some big progress. If you're out of alignment, if there's a disconnect, and sometimes the disconnect, some examples might be, you're in a new practice and there's not a lot of patient volume. So there's not a lot of money coming in, so they can't really afford, or you're in the type of practice where there's not a lot of procedures, but you really, really, really want to learn to do procedures, and you're frustrated because you keep, wanting and proposing that they introduce procedures, but it's just not what this particular practice is all about. They specialize in one thing, and it maybe is not something that's procedure based. So these things will cap the amount of revenue that we can generate as PAs or NPs, and therefore it limits and caps our income potential, our salary potential. So these are things outside of our control, and we help you recognize these things. Sometimes it's payer type. Sometimes it's payer type, and if there's Medicaid or things like that. Sometimes the academic centers. There's all different variables, but there's also different variables in your benefit packages and the values of the benefit. And some facilities, the benefit package is massive, and there's matched 401ks, and there's all these beautiful things. And in other facilities, small private practice, there might be hardly any benefits at all. And so you're going to negotiate a little differently. The salary potential might be a little bit more. So we're going to help you understand all these things and help you understand why another PA might have a compensation structure that feels quite different than yours, and you're in the same specialty. And we're going to help you understand why that is, and help you with a strategy in your current role, or help you understand why or why not. And is, again, a process that we developed a long time ago, and it works without fail. You will have clarity at the end of that call. You will understand your perspective so much differently. And one thing I'll add about the contract terms. So when a lot of people ask us about the attorneys, and when do you talk to us, when do you talk to attorneys? So here's what Danielle was talking about and referencing with the terms. We are the experts in understanding what is industry standard for something like a non-compete radius, or whether tail coverage for malpractice might be included or not included in a contract, or limitations and restrictions on outside activities, and whether that is, acceptable or not acceptable. These are things that we know because we're PAs and we look at thousands of contracts over the years. And these are the things that the attorneys, they don't just have the exposure. There's, to our knowledge, to this day, to this point in time, we have not met an attorney that is dealing with the volume of clients that we deal with. And so they just don't have their hand on the pulse. What the attorneys are excellent at is labor laws. So if there's a breach of contract, if you haven't been paid, or there seems something that they're not living up to their end of the contract, or they look at the terms and make sure that everything is industry standard as far as labor laws and things like that. But oftentimes they're not sure. They don't know if a non-compete says 500 miles, they may or may not know if that is something that is industry standard. And so those are the things that we help people understand. We help people understand the terms that are common to the PA profession and very unique to the PA and NP profession, very unique to our industry. These are not the kind of things that contract lawyers would review for somebody like an attorney or a CPA. That their employer contracts would be quite different. They wouldn't have necessarily these similar nuances in there about tail coverage and things like that. So those are the things that we help with. And we help you understand. We'll say this is pretty standard, or this is excessive, or this is great, that there's some language in here that says mutually agreed upon. We love that kind of language in there, because that allows you to have some engagement in, if things were to change, you can have some dialogue around things. So that's great. We always recommend an attorney do a final review to make sure there isn't anything in the legal language that's labor law related that, you know, is anything else that they want to make sure is all on the up and up from a legal standpoint. That is definitely their arena, because we are not attorneys. So we help you with what we call the terms, because you typically negotiate the terms before you sign the dotted line. So you have a conversation, you go back to people and you have a dialogue like, hey, I saw that non-compete radius was X number of miles, you know, could we reduce this? Is there another thing? So you want to negotiate the terms before signing the dotted line. So those terms are the things that we help you understand and negotiate. So we typically recommend coming to us. The attorneys usually are very grateful to have the input from our team first, because that really helps them so that they have a handle on the pulse of the industry standard, and then they can do their job from the legal standpoint. So I wanted to add that in there as well. I think Danielle did a great job describing. The other thing that I did want to mention, some people will ask us if our sessions are Zoom or phone. And we typically offer our sessions on the phone on a conference line that we use. And the reason that we do that is most sessions are in the late afternoon or the evening, so that we are after clinic hours for people that work in clinic. And we want people to be able to have a space, whether they have to, you know, meet in the car because they're outside of clinic, or at home if they have a lot of distractions with family or little kids or things like that, then they can scoot someplace easily. And we don't want people to have to worry about setting up an iPad or laptop and getting lighting and getting the camera and being on Zoom. And it creates more complication, because ultimately we want to make sure that you can hear us and you have a notepad and pen. If you're looking at contract, you have it printed out so that you can take some notes on what we're talking about on the key points. We make sure we pause. And so you're really understanding those key points and those key elements, and that you're not distracting by the tech part of Zoom. Not that Zoom is complicated, but we want you to be able to do it if it's the only time that you have is right after clinic, but there's not a private time and you have to take the call from the car, then great, you can. And if there isn't a strong enough signal for video on Zoom, you don't have to worry about that. And that's why we host our sessions primarily on phone. And we do offer group sessions that can be arranged. We do oftentimes recommend negotiating independently, unless you're working for a big hospital system or something like that, in which case sometimes it's preset that you're going to, you know, they're going to have sort of a templated structure for the PAs and NPs. But if you're in a private practice, we really recommend that you negotiate on your own. But we do offer group programs. We do work with practice administrators as well as practice owners as well. Similar process to what Danielle talked through. We go through the same process with them, except we're helping them figure out the compensation model for their employees. So hopefully this answered some questions about how our process works. Again, you can reach out to us at certifiedpaconsulting.com, and you can email team@certifiedpaconsulting.com anytime to answer any question or get more videos or more free resources, or find out, you know, what program is the right one. We have some on-demand programs as well that are obviously on demand. So they're not the same process that Danielle talked through. That's our very concierge, hands-on private coaching and consulting session is what she walked through. So hopefully that helps. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You know where to find us. And we will see you on our next Town Hall video series.